Blade Talk with Scab and Joe.
The American experiment requires us all to push the boundaries.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Sit back, relax. We got a pretty good show here. Please don't forget our U.S. veterans. Growing awareness for veteran suicide. Hashtag 22 a day no more. Veterans, you always have a place here. There is a number in the description of all of my videos for some good folk that can help you if you are in despair. Microphone will be good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Welcome to another episode. I see that the room is getting a little packed. This is going to be a good one. This is a great show. I love the guest that's coming in today. But before we get into that, as you know, with Blade Talk with Scab and Joe and our corresponding channels, my name is Joe Steele from The Steel Mindset, and obviously Scab from Quiet Boys Outdoors. On our channels and on Blade Talk, we support our veterans, awareness for our veterans, and basically what we're just saying is, veterans, you have a place here on Blade Talk and our corresponding channels. Other than that, listen, the next guest is coming into the room. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and a lot of you guys might know him or classify him as a pro knife thrower, but I think that he's got like I mean, in terms of skill and expertise, he's pretty much has that in his back pocket. This guy is beyond, skill. I mean, this guy is pretty much inhuman in terms of the stuff that he does. I mean, it's stuff that just, you'll see it, man. I mean, you have to watch his channel. You got to follow him, and you have to see the skill that he really has. And he's just amazing at what he does. He's also a sword guy, which I love, and you know me. And he's an all blades guy, but we know him as a knife thrower. We know him as also the host of the annual DangerFest. I believe in Illinois, Danger, I think it is. You'll tell me, you'll correct me after you come in. And that's an amazing get together that's grown so much through the years, and we'll talk all about that. That's coming up in September. And so he goes by Danger. And I hear that he actually really likes to take moonlit walks on the beach with a special someone. So he's an interesting guy. So let's get Danger into the room. Let's get Scab in as our host and, co-host, whatever you want to call it. And let's get Blade Talk going.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome.
Good afternoon. It is an honor.
We're glad to have you, man. We are glad to have you.
I am beyond honored and stoked to be here. This is like, I've been excited for this big time.
Good. We're glad to have you. Listen, Joe likes to talk to the guests before I do, and that way I'm in the dark and can ask all the questions you don't want to answer. It's kind of what we do.
Okay, that works.
Did you, first thing, and then I'm going to throw it to Joe real quick, but first thing, I come across you, man, not long after I started the channel, and Eric Hussein, Carl, they kind of pointed us your direction, and they went to DangerFest. How long have you been doing DangerFest?
Well, just so everybody knows, I have a split 1 second delay every once in a while, okay. So just be aware of that. So DangerFest last year was actually our 10-year anniversary, and I started it in my backyard with my friends, my local throwers. I had traveled to a throw, and I wanted them to see what it was like. So I started hosting, copying what I saw in Pennsylvania, and we started doing it. I think we had 9 throwers at the time, and last year we had 137 people from all over the world. We had people from England, Germany, France, Sweden, Canada, and all over the United States, and it just blows my mind.
Now, where do you have it now? Where is it at now?
It started in my backyard, but now my dad owns a bait shop in Pearson, Indiana, and he also owns 13 acres behind it. So it is absolutely perfect. We got private property to do whatever we want on. So, and my dad has been trying to sell the bait shop, but he told me, as long as I want to host DangerFest, he will hold on to the property. So I'm very grateful for that.
Excellent. Well,
amazing, yeah.
it's on my list to come to one year. I really want to come.
I want to formally invite both of you or anyone that's watching. It's open. It's you don't have to be invited, but I'm just formally inviting you guys right now. This year would be amazing. We have like scholarship programs. We have donations and stuff. We have a little bit of extra money if you guys need any help coming or anything like that. It would be an honor to have you guys, and I know you would have a good time. I know it.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because that's intriguing. Do you have people? First of all, let's back up. For everybody watching that may not know, what is DangerFest? Let's go all the way to the beginning.
Good question. So my nickname is DangerFest, and the first tournament that I ever went to is the godfather of knife throwing. His name's Joe Broken Feather Dara, and so the reason why we call it DangerFest is just because it sounds cool. This is not about me. It's about the knife throwing community. And what it is a knife throwing tournament or a competition. And the word competition kind of throws people off sometimes. And I always try to reiterate, it's not really that big of a deal. You know, and in knife throwing, you're not really competing against anybody else. You're competing against yourself anyway. You're competing against your last score that you had. And you're always trying to better yourself. But knife throwing is just, the DangerFest is just, the whole weekend we get together. There, right there, that group of people right there. That picture means so much to me. It's just, Joe Dara always puts it. We have a huge family reunion, and then all of a sudden, a knife throwing tournament breaks out, and that's kind of how I like to think of DangerFest too. It's we do knife throwing, tomahawk throwing. We have an instinctive course. There's many different events for knife throwing, but my love for swords came about oh man, I don't even know how many years ago, 7-8 years now. And I met, that's how I know you guys, through the sword community on YouTube, the backyard sword community. Let me be clear on that.
JQ video.
JQ video, yeah.
The JQ video.
Man, I was, you go back and you watch that. You could see my excitement, dude. Swords just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it, dude. I got a sword in my hand. But I just love all things weapon related, blade related, especially. I grew up in the 80s, and it just, I don't know, changed my life, man. Hopefully I did a good job of describing what DangerFest was there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you also have a section. You also have a section there where you also dedicate to sword handlers, because that's where Carl. That's really why Carl and Eric went, is because you have a section. You section it off, like this area is like for you guys to swing swords around and stuff like that. Because you have the HEMA people there too.
We have a few. The sword people that we have is small, and I wish it was bigger. And I think that's my fault that we haven't had more people show up about the sword stuff. I am just so busy. I am so busy. I am nonstop. It's the hardest I've worked all year. Is DangerFest. I'm up from 7 a.m. and I don't go to bed until 1 a.m. every night. And I apologize. I wish I had more time to dedicate to the sword people, because I really, really appreciate them coming. And I'm actually thinking about hosting a separate thing just for the sword community. That to be determined. But we have Adam Novath. He's a local Hoosier. I'm not sure if you guys know him. He's made videos on YouTube here and there. Eric and Carl know who he is. Yeah. But last year I had AJ. Forgive me, AJ. I cannot remember your last name right now. But he is a practitioner he's one of the students from, what's that school in Richmond? You guys seen them? They're on YouTube every day. The Richmond school. They have a sword shop. RVA.
RVA Katana. Oh, in Virginia.
He's one of the students. He's one of the students of the
yeah. Okay, I know you're talking about. I know.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and hopefully we can have more of those guys come. But and every year we learn something, and my duties get less and less every year. So hopefully this year I can, spend some more time with the sword guys. And Carl and Eric didn't come this last year, but things happen, and hopefully we can get those guys to come this year. Hopefully we can get you guys to come. Hopefully we can get the cool steel guys to come. The more the merrier, man.
Definitely, yeah. We have to talk about that because if I do end up coming down, I definitely will help you round up the sword community.
That'd be great.
Come down and something like that, and just try to make it a bigger thing for the swords.
And we take the safety very, very seriously because the swords are very different than the throwing knives. The throwing knives that we use are not sharp; they're just pointy. And I'll be honest, the swords scare me. Compared to the throwing knife stuff. I mean, it's a 3-foot razor blade, dude, and I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff, dude, and I don't want anybody to get hurt. And it's called DangerFest. No one's ever been hurt. We don't want anybody to get hurt. So we're big on safety.
Now, and we'll bop back and forth here, but
Sure.
I've got a blade here because Captain Electro went a couple years ago, and he absolutely fell in love with it. And he sent me this. It's a Hedgie Blades. It's the Beast. Now, do you have guys that make a lot of the throwing knives show up?
All of them.
Okay.
I mean, I know all of the makers, all of them. And we have we have vendors. We don't charge vendors. You can come set up stuff. Some people have made $2,000 to $3,000 in a weekend. It's a huge thing for sellers. But yeah, all the makers come. Or if the makers can't come themselves, they send stuff. We're big,
right.
The community's real big on helping each other, and a lot of the knife makers send stuff for the prize table, what we call it. But thank you very much for Electro. I haven't talked to him in a while. It was awesome the year that he came, and he's got a story about me that I don't want to talk about, but he's got a story, dude.
Well, he fell in love with it. He fell in love.
That was his breakout year. I mean, he really enjoyed it. He was talking about it for a long time.
I really like that.
He really
guy.
enjoyed coming down there.
He reminds me of everybody, or most of the people that I know in the knife throwing community. There's a lot of like introverts or socially awkward people, and I'm telling you what, this is the spot for you. There's no one like I can't think of the word. I'm sorry, my girlfriend's sitting here. She's the other half of DangerFest, by the way. This is my girlfriend Alicia.
Hello, Alicia.
And but it's just a non-judgment. We're all there for the love of blades, for the love of knife throwing. It's just I can't speak highly enough about it. Even though it's my throw. So don't go to DangerFest. If you can go, but if you can't, that's fine. Search for other knife throws in your area. They're popping up. Knife throwing has blossomed since COVID happened, and they're all over the United States now.
Well, knife throwing, axe throwing is huge. Axe throwing is all over the place. I mean, you could find. In New York, there's a lot. Like in Manhattan, believe it or not, there's a lot of places in Manhattan that do knife throwing. Axe throwing. Yeah.
Well, that is very different than what we do. So you can damn near throw a rock and find an axe throwing place in almost any city.
Place. But knife throwing, like you're saying, is not as much. Yeah.
So even
okay, good question. Man, I gotta say this without being mean. So the knife throwing that we do is the grassroots. This is where all that stuff that you see those guys do came from us, or of other older variation of us. The stuff that we do, the AKTA has been around since the 70s and 80s. ICTOF's been around since the early 90s. And what they do is just a simplified, I'll use that word, we use simplified version of what we do. They don't throw as far as we do. They throw at one target. It's just a simplified version where you can take anybody off the street, or tomahawk, axe, hatchet, whatever you call it, is way easier than knife throwing. So that's why all those axe throwing places prosper. You can take anybody off the street, bring them in, 5 minutes later, they're sticking axes, and they're ecstatic. I taught a blind guy how to throw within 5 minutes. It's pretty simple. It's mathematical equations when you're talking about rotational throwing. Now there's instinctive throwing, very different ball game. Very different ball game. Very difficult to learn. Very rewarding though.
So tell me the difference, like with you guys, with tomahawk throwing specifically, and I'll tell you what I'm asking. The knife throwing thing is a groove. You got to get in the groove. And with knife throwing, you can get in the groove one throw and do something. If anything's off, the next throw you screw it up, right? With tomahawk throwing, once you dial it in, you're dialed in. You're there.
Pretty much.
And I enjoy that. But what do you guys do differently? Like with the tomahawk and the axe throwing, you said it was different. How is it different with you? Do you rotate targets? What do you do?
We throw at 3 different targets, left to right. They usually throw at one center bullseye. And then, of course, they have what they call kill shots, but they're basically throwing at one target.
Yeah.
And they throw like this, and it's either 1 rotation or 2 rotations. As a matter of fact, I think axe throwing is only 1 rotation, so it's a set distance. We throw 10 feet back to 30 feet, and 30 feet is very difficult.
Sure.
What else is different? So they throw 1 rotation. We throw 1 rotation, 1.5 rotations, 2 rotations, 2.5 rotations, and 3 rotations. And the biggest thing about that is this is 1 rotation. You flip it around, it lands upside down. It's 1.5 rotations. 2 rotations, do it again, flip it around further back, which is about 7 meters, 2.5 rotations. So it sticks like this. It's just a lot more. And it's very difficult. No one has ever put up a perfect score. It's similar to bowling. 300 is a perfect score. No one's ever done a perfect score in knife or tomahawk throwing. People have gotten kind of close, but it is extremely difficult. And I believe that people put up perfect scores in axe throwing all the time. All the time. So that's a big difference.
Well, let me just jump in the chat. I know you have some questions. Just put them on there. I'm starring the questions. We'll bring them in afterwards, but definitely ask questions. I'm going to star them up and save them. But go ahead, Scab. I'm sorry.
We like to tell y'all that, and then we never get to them. But you're important to us. Listen, so here's the thing. With all of it, and I'll be honest with you, with the first thing with DangerFest, when I first saw it, I was thinking swords because that's the vantage point we got. And I believe Eric, Carl, and Cap went that year. I believe all 3 went that year.
That was a good year. Yes.
All 3 of them.
And let me fall back on this, because what people don't get is this. It's not just knife throwers. Most of the knife community on YouTube a lot of us are not extroverts. People think we're one way because we're using this as an outlet.
Right.
And that's not it. But I tell you what really put it high on my list to go, and if I can't go this year, it'll be 2026, but I'm going 1 year, was how welcome Cap felt. It was so much so that's all he could talk about. How welcome you guys had. And that's a big deal. That makes it like a gathering. Like in your world, you're having a throw. In the knife or bushcraft world, it's a gathering. So to follow up on that, where do you see this going in the next few years?
Well, that's a good question. So I never advertised it, really. I mean, within the knife throwing community on Facebook, and that's where the knife throwing community really resides, is on Facebook in the groups. I never really advertised it and pushed it until last year. It was the 10-year anniversary, so we wanted to have as many people as possible. I was really, really hoping for 150 throwers. And we had the largest throw in the world last year, actually. Definitely the largest throw in the United States for knife and tomahawk throwing, for what we do. So we are pushing again this year. I have an amazing graphics artist guy. We have a different theme every year. His name's Marcus Method. He's a genius. This year is the Terminator theme. Last year was G.I. Joe. The year before that was Clockwork Orange. It's it's interesting. So knife throwing and tomahawk throwing is still pretty small, and I want to see it grow, and it's still a backyard thing. So I don't know, there's no industry. You know, I want to make this my job one day. I just want to do it the right way without being a douche. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here.
Well, part of it is to get it to where you want it to go, part of it is being an ass. If you want the truth, and I'll tell you where I'm coming from with it.
Okay.
I watch your channel a lot, right?
Thank you.
And what I found is you get a lot of know-it-alls. Now, everybody gets know-it-alls. We all do. But you get a ton of them. And so I started kind of backtracking just on my own through the knife throwing realm. There's a lot of that. So, and I say this honestly to you because you're a good dude. Sometimes you have to shelve the good dude to get things done. You know what I'm saying? Because I can see it. I can see what you're doing. I can see it growing. I can see it growing by leaps and bounds. But you have to realize, bro, you're not going to be everybody's buddy. You're not going to be everybody's pal. You know,
You're not
that's
everybody
hard.
happy.
That's hard. Everybody wants to be that guy, but it's hard.
Yeah. I struggle with that big time because I just, anyone that throws knives, I just want to be their friend and I want to help them, because I didn't get a whole lot of help in the beginning when I first started throwing. Like all these older gentlemen that I really looked up to, and it's not really their fault, it's just how things were. There wasn't a whole lot of information that they were giving out. It was almost like gatekeeping, or, you know, you had to know a certain someone or whatever. So I've learned all this shit myself. So I'm just giving it away for free. I don't care. And that's the other thing about DangerFest. We don't do it for money at all. As a matter of fact, we never made any money. And it's not, I don't even care. I'm not bitching about that or nothing. It's just, if we break even, awesome. And I think we might have made a little bit of money last year. No, never mind. and that's fine. And we're the cheapest. We're only charging $80 a person.
70 prepaid.
70 for prepaid. If you go to the World Championships in Canada, you're paying $150 for pro, $125 for amateur. And sorry, that's another thing I forgot my point. I feel obligated to continue to do DangerFest because it has become the largest one. I never meant it to be. I never wanted to be the guy that had the biggest knife throw or DangerFest. Hey, look at me. That's not me. I don't care. I just want to see knife throwing succeed. Mm-hmm. And I feel obligated to do it. The World Championship is not happening in Canada this year. There's a couple of other friends of mine that are having competitions. Joe Dara is having his again in Pennsylvania in about 3 weeks. Really excited about going to that. He's not sure how much longer he's going to be able to host that. Blade Aces is still prospering, and then that's it. You have Europe, and going to Europe is so expensive. I hope to go there one day. I'm trying to get my affairs in order. I still got to get my passport and all that stuff. It's on the agenda for next year. But yeah, man, I just want to see. I just want to get as many people involved in this as possible, because it changed my life, dude. It changed my life. Like, it's hard to explain. I don't want to get emotional, but it's, yeah.
Well, it's your heart and it's your passion. Yeah. Let me ask you this then. Do you find that you did, like the know-it-alls that you deal with, are they just trolls or is it actual throwers? Because in my mind, it's probably trolls, but it seems like there's an inordinate amount that gravitates your way. You know what I'm saying? Man.
Yeah, it's fine. And it's the internet. And that's why I'm here. Dude, I'll be honest. I love it, Scab. I love it, dude. Come talk shit to me. It makes me it makes me so much better. Like, you say I'm bad. Oh, I'm going to get good. I'm going to get so good. Dude, so the people that talk shit to me are just people online just talking. You know, I've had a couple viral videos. There's 12,000 comments. I went through every single one of those comments, dude. Every single one. I don't give a shit. And there's every once in a while, there's knife throwing bickering, just like this knife community or whatever. that's no big deal, dude. And I welcome it. It doesn't bother me at all. It just comes with the territory.
Well, it's something you got to get used to too. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you got there?
Well, here it's actually I did a short on this today. I kind of just I grab this every once in a while. It's a honey badger. You ever hear that brand?
No.
It's a big. I saw the short.
The brand is called Honey Badger, and this is just called the Honey Badger Large Flipper. It's actually not a bad freaking knife. I mean, it's got a lot of purchase.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's got a lot of purchase. You know, not the best steel in the world, but it's sharp. It does its thing. It's got the jimping. It's not bad.
What's the price point on that?
I honestly, bro, I haven't picked it up. I've seen it in a while, but I think it's probably around $50, $40.
That's a steal.
Yeah. You know, at least now it is.
While we're talking knives and knife throwing, let's talk about the evolution of knife throwing and the knives that are being thrown.
Ooh, good.
What are you seeing there? What are we seeing coming along?
Man, I'm glad you asked. So when I first started throwing, there's three major ways to throw. There's rotational throwing, which is set distances, which is what you've encountered with tomahawk throwing, and is what the axe throwers do, and I do it too. And then there's instinctive throwing, which is no spin throwing, which is technically a quarter spin, where you throw the knife and you brush your finger to counteract the spin. And then there's also half spin, which is very similar to no spin. And those are the three main ways to throw knives. So in the very beginning, knives were very big. It's easier to control a knife that's a little bit longer and heavier. So that was kind of like what I saw in the beginning. We're talking about 13 years ago. Now, man, we're down to 8.5-inch knives, and they're not easy. It's more of an advanced knife to me, and this is the stuff that I'm interested in now with this, the amount of time that I've been into it. I'm always looking to learn. Back in the beginning, when I first started throwing knives, I always had these aha moments, like these breakthroughs. It was just so fun. Like, damn, I finally got it, dude. I finally got it. And I'm still looking for that high.
Oh, sorry.
The smaller knives, it's come full circle. And the other thing is, with COVID, the pandemic that happened, knife throwing had a huge insurgence of people come into the sport, and therefore the companies in China saw that, so they started copying, not verbatim copying designs, but they found out the formula for what people in the knife throwing community like. So they offer a lot of similar knives to this in this shape on Amazon now for extremely cheap, affordable prices. So that's kind of the main thing I've seen over the years is the knives have come down in size. Now the quality has also gone up significantly, and the number of makers has gone up significantly. I think 3 years ago, I sat down and just myself, out of my head, I came up with 110 different knife throwing manufacturers, whether that was production knives or custom throwing knife makers that I know. Now that number's gone up at least by 30, at least. That's a lot of options there. Yeah.
That's a lot of options. I didn't even think
throwing knives are they're very easy to make.
Right.
You don't got to worry so much about the crazy heat treat. You don't have to hold an edge. All you got to do is get them to do, not bend, not break. And, so the tip doesn't get destroyed. Now there's high-end makers like Prince steel knives, bullseye blades, flying steel. And then you have stuff that, my sponsor, I'm sponsored by Delta to Alpha, and our stuff is just basic. It's not lasered. There's no handle scales on them. It's just a basic throwing knife. So there's just a whole myriad of options out there.
This is a new knife sport that WC Review had said. He goes, I'm going to start throwing knives. I'll give my wife a 10-second head start. That's great.
10 seconds, that's a long time. 10 seconds
That's a long time. Oh, man. Let me get us into the room.
You got him out of Joe. The hell are you doing?
All right, here we go. There we go.
He's playing roulette.
I'm playing I'm hitting a lot of buttons.
We're keeping everything moving. Good.
It's all good.
Hey, so yeah, that's just Joe. There ain't no telling. So listen, I sent you the Lilith, which I was amazed at how well you threw that damn
sword that he sent.
Now, with that, how long did it take you to kind of get the groove with that knife?
I'll be honest. So usually length has a lot to do with distance. Now, that knife has a tapered handle because, my buddy Jason Johnson, I don't have one with the handle scales on it, but that right there is the shape of the Lilith handle. And now this is just a little baby tooth thrower that he made for me, but that's basically it. So that taper tends to make it spin quicker. So this thing blew my mind that I can throw this at the same. No, man, the snap's on it now. Man, this snap, I tell you what, dude.
Just pull it off or cut it off.
Man,
that thing aggravates shit.
Oh my!
You got to hit it. You got to do it from the top down.
They got to do something about that. That's the only complaint I have.
Yeah.
But so as you can see, the handle is the exact same.
Yeah.
So that allows it to come out of your hand very nice and smooth. So this large, I don't even know how long it is, 18, 19 inches, throws the exact same distance as this 14-inch knife. This is probably a 20, isn't it? So that blew my mind. But once I figured that out, I was like, oh, it's all simple math, man. And I've been doing it for so long. But the real difficulty was throwing this thing no spin, because all of that weight is outside of my hand.
Yeah.
Usually I'm throwing little knives like this. I can use my hand like a barrel, and the knife just slides out like a bullet. But when you have all that extra weight outside your finger, you really got to figure out where to push with your fingertip and how much pressure to counteract anti-spin to, make it do a quarter spin for no spin. So, but man, the thunks with this thing, when it hits properly, you guys saw that video. It makes an awesome sound. Awesome. Yeah. And thank you again, man, for sending this to me. It's so cool, dude. Thank you.
Well, keep it and play with it as long as you want. But the thing is, it about took your damn head off.
Well, no, it wasn't close to my head. It was like my legs.
It was a lot further back than I thought. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think the ricochet would go that far back, man. I was like, oh, shit.
That was huge, yeah.
I didn't either. And usually with longer knives like that and handle scales, it absorbs the shock a little bit. I was very surprised, but I wasn't throwing it light either. But, you got to be careful, man. Like, knife throwing is very safe if you know what you're doing. But that design is basically a straight kookery. Could we agree on that design? The Lilith.
That's the way I kind of figured it a little bit.
And Jason's
yeah,
and Jason's a huge kookery guy. That's the knife that he used on Knife or Death. But a kookery with that little elbow, that bend, they are dangerous, dude. They are extremely dangerous. They ricochet so fast. I made a whole video about it a while back. The LaFontaine thrower from Cold Steel. Yeah. It should come with a little disclaimer for real.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that stuff should, but kookeries are one of the most versatile knives. I love them. I've got some from Nepal. I got some from everywhere. And a kookery is a blade that when you hold it, you kind of want to throw it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot of times you'll get a blade and you're like, nah, but with a kookery, I know one of the first kookeries I had was it was a SOG Seal machete when I was a kid.
Okay.
But that thing, you could throw that sumbitch forever. It just has that Now, would you say like that little? That's not a beginning thrower's knife, is it?
Oh my gosh, no. That thing's gnarly, dude. It's so sharp. And that's my big complaint with the throwers from Cold Steel. Almost all of them come razor sharp, dude.
Razor sharp.
Razor sharp. And that's not really needed. But it's nice that you can use those for a real knife. All you got to do is take a file to them. They're good. But people that don't know, they can get hurt.
I tried to throw that thing, but it was tough. I mean, I honestly, the only way I was able to get that out of my hands is to throw it like a spear to a target.
Okay.
And I didn't have a target. I had like a dead log, so I didn't have a big target. So I didn't want to spin it. I basically held it and I threw it kind of like you would throw a spear.
Yeah.
And it worked that way. But other than I know that's not the way you're supposed to throw it, but that's the only way I was able to get that thing out of my hands. You know?
And by the way, since I touched on Cold Steel a little bit, I just got to get this out. And I know a friend of mine would be upset if I didn't. The three main throwers from Cold Steel, the Perfect Balance, the Sure Balance, and the True Balance, I believe. Do you guys know where those designs come from?
Nope.
The oldest throwing knife company in the United States called True Balance Knives. True Balance Knife Throwing Company. It was started in the 1950s by Harry McAvoy. So there was a whole dispute back in the early 80s. I believe Cold Steel and True Bal came to an agreement at the time, and that's why Cold Steel is still able to sell those knives. But those knives are just, in my mind, those are the shape of a throwing knife. I'm an old school guy, and actually one of my best friends just bought the company True Bal, and you can get the original True Bals through him now. So I just had to throw that out there.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
that's awesome. Listen, I've got a whole bag of throwers, but let me say this: they're cheapos. I've got a Cold Steel I've got 3 or 4 Cold Steels, and I've got the throwing that everybody's got, those sog pieces of shit that everybody gets when they're 12.
Yeah.
They're lucky they hadn't wound up in the river. But the thing is, when you get this, I can tell you what Cold Steel still is. They're thinking more knife than they are thrower. That's exactly. I can tell you what they're doing here.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's cool to a point. But and I'm not knocking it, but I've gotten several of theirs, and I just use them for knives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's more of a knife first. And as a matter of fact, especially the Perfect Balance thrower, that was actually the original name was called the Bowie Axe. And that's exactly what it's for. It's a camp knife. It's made for chopping. It's just also a knife that you can throw. There are designated throwing knives that are made just for throwing. And then there are knives made for multi-purpose stuff. And that's exactly what those are for. And there's nothing wrong with cheap throwing knives. I've had all of them. I've got a box of them right over there. Half of them are broken, but I love them. I will never get rid of those knives. It reminds me of where I came from. And as a matter of fact, I went to my first tournament and I scored an expert score with the shittiest knives out of the Bud K catalog you could find. Well, not the shittiest, but you know what I mean. Gil Hibbon knives.
Gil Hibbons.
And you know they're made by United Cutlery and they're fine. I broke probably just as many. You know, I loved them so much. We just kept ordering them. I'd break some and some didn't break. And, you know, so it's whatever knife gets you into the sport. I call the cheap ones gateway knives. Whatever gets you into the sport, man. Eventually, you're going to move on to the good stuff.
I like those. I'll tell you what, I always buy them like a dumbass. But if I see them, I'll get them. You know those little cheap-ass kunai? They'll come in sets of 3 or 6.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Bro, I love them things. I'll probably, at some point when I die and somebody digs up my yard, they're going to be mad. And they're going to think that's a serial killer. Because they're real thin.
That's funny.
If you miss, they're going under the dirt and they're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
you talk about little guys, like little tiny ones.
Yeah.
They're made more for dartboards, for indoor use.
Well, I'll do that or tie a paracord to them. But I've got where I just spray them yellow. Now, do you have any designs out there? Are you working?
Man, I'm so glad I'm so glad you asked. I have several designs, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys both so much for putting me on Cold Steel's radar. Finally. I've been throwing Cold Steel this whole time. I've been tagging them for years, and thank you guys so much, man. And it blew my mind to get an email from Luke. It made my day, man. And he talked to me about possibly sponsoring DangerFest and possibly some other stuff that I don't want to, ruin yet. We'll see where that goes. But yes, I have several knife designs, and I've been sponsored for the past 3 years from a company from Canada called Delta to Alpha, and they've been extremely kind to me when nobody else would. I can't speak highly enough of Ace, of Delta to Alpha, but of kunai. Kunai suck usually because of the ring on the end. The ring is not good. It's not. If you're throwing it from the blade, no big deal. But if you want to throw from the handle, that ring just gets in the way. So I've designed this knife, a kunai, and hopefully, if things go well, this might be something that Cold Steel does one day. This is the kunai. It's called the Apex. And you see, it still has the ring in the end, but there's nothing to get in the way right there. Yeah. And this is more of a no spin or instinctive throwing knife. And very proud of this one. And then I have the Danger Dashi. I'm a big fan of Japanese stuff, as you can tell. Yeah. Kiradashi. So Kiradashi, we call this the Danger Dashi. Love it. This one's, and I have several different lengths and thicknesses of these. It's an amazing knife. Even though it's mine, it's amazing. And then also have another one called the Anti-Bowie. Where did it go? Oh, just a moment. Oh, it's in my lap. The Anti. So my favorite design of all time is the Bowie knife because I'm an American. Love them. So I had to make a throwing knife with the Bowie knife shape. So all that is a Bowie knife with the exact same handle shape as the Danger Dashi. Mm-hmm. And this knife throws amazing. Actually, they all do. And I'm not just saying that because I designed them. They're good. They're user friendly.
Well, you're designing them. It looks like you're designing them from a place of experience because obviously you've been throwing knives for over a decade. Yeah, and
almost 14 years.
Yeah, and basically, it's coming from experience as far as what you like and what feels good in your hand, and that's where it's coming from. But I mean, those look like they can take some crazy flight, man. Those are nice.
Yeah, they're good. They're good, and not only that, I have my finger on the pulse of the knife throwing community, and I watch videos daily. This stuff has consumed my life. I dedicate my life to it. I do this every day. And I pay attention to everybody what they're doing, and man, I know it's I don't know, it's just cool, and I can't say enough about the knife throwing community. It's been really, really cool. But man, there's just so many designs now, so many. Like on deltatoalpha.com, you can go there right now and use code FullTangClan10 to get 10% off your purchase. All of my knife designs are on there, but there's 150 different throwing designs on there. And the guy that owns the company, he is a black belt in Bujinkan Ninjutsu, and he loves to throw shuriken. So there are so many traditional bow shuriken styles on there if you're into that stuff. So I highly recommend checking that out. And also if you're into bow shuriken stuff, Igatengu. Igatengu has got very traditional, excellent Japanese stuff.
Joe, can we get that website put up for everybody?
Yeah, I'm actually was going to ask you now because I have a URL open. What's the website called?
Delta2alpha.com. I have my own section in there, but there's many different throwing sections of different throwers.
Delta 2 Alpha, Big Black Friday, bigger than ever. Okay, training. I got it. Let me put that up here.
Yep. And they do a lot more than just throwing knives. It's actually a very, very big company. Throwing knives is a small part of it.
All right. I want to bring this up, and then I have a question to ask you too. Hold on.
Please.
Let me actually get rid of this. Yeah, I want to bring the website up because you said there's some products that you have a code for on this site too?
I believe if you buy anything from the site, and please don't quote me on this, I'm sorry. I believe the code for 10% off any purchase is Full Tang Clan 10, capital F, capital T, capital C, no spaces.
This is it, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
If you click on that picture with all the knives, it might come up. I know there's another maybe throwing knife section.
It says
there's a lot of stuff on there.
Training. All right, so this is the site. So now let me ask you a question. All right. And I'm going to be in the audience to this as well. If
sure.
You have people that are watching this right now, people are going to watch this on the replays, and they're like, you know what? Knife throwing. You know, I always wanted to throw a knife. I just don't know how to get started. I mean, what kind of target do I need? How much space do I need? Where can I just go and get a good set of throwing knives that are just not too difficult to throw? Like, how do I get myself started into the whole knife throwing, not as a sport, but as a leisure thing? Because honestly, I really want to. And I had asked you about this off air as far as a target and living in New York and not having the space, and how do you work with not having the amount of space you need? So what advice would you give to somebody getting started, you know, who's curious now about knife throwing?
So first of all, I highly recommend people trying it. It's something that's extremely affordable. Once you have a set of knives, you find a piece of wood, you're good. But it's very relaxing. It's good for mental health. You don't have to compete. Even if you do come to our throw, you don't even have to compete. Just be around other people that throw. But the best way to get involved in all this stuff is probably just to subscribe to my channel. But there's the knife throwing community in whole is on Facebook. I highly recommend the Instinctive Knife Throwers group, the Throwing Knife Life group, and Kick-Ass Knife Throwing group. Those are the three that I recommend. Excellent people. Everybody's really willing to share their knowledge. And but I throw live every Thursday on my YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Feel free to pop in, ask any question. I'll teach you anything I know for free. You know, I learned on my own, and I have this knowledge.
The YouTube page is Full Tang Clan. It's right under his name. That's actually the name of the YouTube channel.
Correct.
Full Tang Clan, all one word.
That is also my Gmail, fulltangclan@gmail. If you have any more specific questions about DangerFest or anything else knife throwing, hit me up there. And yeah, I'm willing to answer anything. I try to.
Okay, going back to DangerFest, if you got somebody who wants to attend DangerFest, right, that has absolutely zero experience throwing knives, but they think it's cool and they want to go, I mean, are they going to be welcomed there to the point where somebody will help them throw knives and, you know, show them how to throw ropes and maybe have them borrow some knives to throw? Like, how can somebody think to attend it if they want to start learning? Will DangerFest be a good place to start?
It's absolutely the best place to start, and I highly recommend it. You may be overwhelmed by help. People love to spread the love of knife throwing. It's wild. We have people, you know, it's an open thing. Anybody can come. You know, we had a little accident one year and a cop had to come. I was teaching a sheriff how to throw knives. You know what I mean? Like anybody, like it's, you know, we are all as a group trying to promote the sport of knife throwing. And it's something really cool to see. If I'm too busy, I can look like, hey, you teach this guy how to throw. Bam, I'm on it. You know, we had a news crew there last year. It's very open. It's, you know, Electro, I'm glad that makes me so happy that he went on about it. Because yeah, everybody.
He started making throwing knives himself too, because he's a handy guy. I don't know if you know, but he's a handy ass motherfucker. I mean, the guy just when he puts his mind to something, he's a creator, man. And he started making his own throwing knives. He really took to it really well, you know? Yeah.
Actually, you bummed me out because I forgot. I haven't talked to him in a little while, and I need to reach out to him. Well, it's hard to keep up with everybody.
Of course,
you can't. I mean, that's the thing. You can't. But Dave is an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
That ferro rod sucks ass. So here's what I did. I wanted to show you these because I wasn't sure which cold steel ones I had. But I got these little mini throwers.
Yep. I got one back there.
The mini thrower. I bought like two. I got 2 or 3 of them. I like these things, but I have no clue how to throw. I just wing it.
I'll show you.
Well,
I can break it down perfectly for you. As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to make a couple like super basic beginner tutorial because I forget, man. And that's why I'm doing those lives too, because I forget that there's stuff that I overlook because I've been doing it for so long that people just, just in general, just have questions about stuff. And because there's so much misinformation out there, so much. Yeah. I Google stuff all the time. I chat GPT stuff. I go to random forums or whatever, and there's a lot of misinformation in there. And a lot of people mean well, but they just don't really know. And I'm trying to put out the right information and get people, because nobody wants to do something and suck at it. You know what I mean? They want, and knife throwing is instant gratification. You stick a knife, dude. There's something, as human beings, we were designed to throw things. That's how we got food in the beginning. So there's an instant gratification when you throw something and it hits where you want it to go or sticks. Man, it's a good feeling. It is. Yeah. So it's ingrained in all of us.
I want to get into it. Can we talk about targets really quick? I want to show you this one target just so we have some place to start with. Okay. Add to stage. Okay. This target right here.
It's about to show me Amazon targets.
Okay. It's an Amazon target. Let me show you a couple pictures.
What's the price on that bad boy?
This is it's currently unavailable now. But it was about $200 or $179 or something like that.
God.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. So
is that good or bad? I have no idea.
That's it. Well, depending on where you are, someone may think, man, that's awesome. I'm going to buy that. I would never, ever buy that. And I would be upset if one of my friends bought it because we use, softwoods, pine, poplar, cottonwood, bass, willow, anything like that. Cottonwood is the best. We are lucky in Indiana and Michigan. We have a plethora. And I went to school with the guy that owns a lumber company. So I am blessed. Nothing but the best for my friends at DangerFest. But oak can work in a pinch. Sycamore, it depends, man. It depends. But log rounds are the best. When I was hard up for targets, I would never buy. I'm a fabricator and stuff. I know how to make things. I would never in my life buy that. That's insane to me. Insane. Log rounds. I would just drive around the country and see downed trees and see cookies of cuts. I'll go over there and I'll poke a knife in it. If my knife sticks in it, I'll grab that sucker and throw it into my trunk, dude. That's gold. Yeah. But stuff like that, if you're hard up, yes. And so that's a end grain target.
The way I'm thinking, I need something portable. I need something I can take with. I can't attach it somewhere. I have to take it with me into the woodlands, and I got to set it up so I can throw.
Again, I would rather carry around a log round. Now, you want them at least 4 inches thick. I recommend 5 inches. But knives, it depends if you're throwing tomahawks at them or axes. Axes will just chew up stuff. But knives, you can get a 4-inch thick. It doesn't have to be that big. That's a big target. That's big. And then you could build your own easel or tripod. I have a design out here. I'll make a video for everybody. It's a collapsible design. The 3 legs fold up on themselves. You can carry it under one arm, and you can put a handle on top of the log ground and carry 2. It's a little bit cumbersome, but you can go and do that. But if you're in the woods already, just look for a dead tree.
Don't spend $200. You could punch through that thing for $200.
Because that's what I'm asking. I don't know I don't know what they go for. I don't know where I should find them.
That's ludicrous.
I mean, where does anybody go to shop for something first? They go to Amazon, So it's like,
how mad you'd be if you bought that thing. Excuse me. You'd be. But here's the thing too: where you're at, Joe, in the woods, I guarantee you, somebody's cut up a tree, find you a disc, or get somebody with a chainsaw and just cut you. All you got to do is go across it. You know what I'm saying?
You have an instant target,
tree services, lumber yard, tree services. Say, hey man, do you mind if I get one of those, please? And then also, please, everybody watching, if you want to get into knife throwing, please don't throw at live trees. You can. I've thrown at live trees. I've done it in my own yard. We're just trying to not promote that stuff, not put it online. You know what I mean? Like, you can do whatever you want to the trees you own in your own yard. I'm just saying that we try not to do that. If you're going to go somewhere out in the park or in someone's woods, try to throw at dead trees.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice for a lot of reasons. And not everybody has them, but here's the thing. The other side of it is, and the truth of it is, you can get in a lot of trouble by doing that. If you're in a park
Correct.
and you're out there
Correct.
throwing a knife or a tomahawk, like if Joe tried to do that in New York, he'd be under the jail. First and foremost. And then,
well, that's why I got to go deep into the woods, because if I go deep into the woods where nobody can see me, that's where I usually do a lot of my knife reviews. I actually just did a sword review for the first time. I went into the woods. I was in the middle, and it was great. It was like heaven.
Peaceful.
I was able to swing and it was awesome. But I could do the same thing with the knife throwing, as long as I could set up myself with a target.
Oh, so now that you guys mentioned that, Joe, do you mind if I talk about if you don't have an outdoor spot? I have a couple ideas.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
I've been obsessed with knife throwing for a very long time. And I was actually more obsessed with knife throwing when I first got into it. And winter comes, and I was itching to throw. And there are ways to set up throwing lanes, simple stuff, in your home. I can show you a way to make a target out of stacked cardboard, foam, and plywood, so your knife doesn't go through, for indoor throwing. Smaller knives, obviously, but I've got videos on my channel showing you exactly how to make those and stuff. But if you are determined to throw, you'll figure it out. I did. There's
what? I want to do it more, and Scab could basically chime in on this as well, because I'm sure he feels the same way. I want to get into implementing knife throwing into also some of the knife reviews, because there are some knives that we review they're knives you can throw. I mean, they're knives you want to throw, and it's also tests out the construction of them, seeing how they're built, yada yada yada. So there's a lot of reasons. The leisure part of it, as far as that instant satisfaction, I would love to know, to be able to throw, but also just to also implement that into our reviews of the knives, so we can basically have a place. Here's a target. I'm going to throw it. Look at how it sticks. Look at how it spins. Look at the balance. Yada yada yada. So I think it's a great thing to kind of. I think a lot of channels should kind of. There's the more channels that start throwing, and it gets out there more and more. You know how it is. I mean, that's just how.
That's great, dude. That's great.
How it goes, man.
Yeah.
Well,
like I said,
Scab's also uber competitive. So if I see somebody doing something, I want to do it. But here's the danger of throwing a knife. But let me expound a little bit. I was upset about it because it's actually a first run prototype.
Oh.
But
I like that.
But turns out it was a good thing, because I do everything on camera.
Was that a work tough? No.
Yeah.
It's a work tough.
Oh, it was.
It's Little Eagle. It's the first run of the Little Eagle. So.
Oh wow. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I threw it, smacked. I knew, and you know when it hits, you hear that ting.
Ping.
But I had it on camera. So I text Vic and I text Zeke, and I just said, "Hey, look, this thing snapped. I was throwing it. I'm sorry, But the deal was, I believe, and I'm trying to see what steel this was. It was M2. Yeah. Okay, so this was M2. This was a failed experiment for them. And Vic said, man, I'll tell you what, I'm actually glad it snapped. It's way too brittle, way too hard for what we want to use it for. So it wound up being a good thing, but it is kind of a sickening feeling when it makes that, when it does that.
Yeah,
there's that sound.
I know. Yeah.
And there's no, well, maybe when it does that ping, it's over.
Yeah.
But I do think, Joe, to get to your point about knife reviewing and things, who's the guy, Brian? He's got a huge channel. He throws one every video. I agree with that. I do think too, though, safety needs to come into that, and you have to throw in a disclaimer, like you shouldn't throw a cold steel mayhem into a tree because it'll bend the tip, as we've seen. But I like the idea, man. I like in throwing, and there's a lot of knives you pick up and you just want to throw.
You just want to throw. That's what I feel like. Something you just want to throw. There's so many cables I pick up that I just want to throw them. You know.
Yeah. Can I expand on that a little bit?
Please.
Sure.
Okay, so not all knives are meant to be thrown. Some knives that aren't meant to be thrown can be thrown. Now, metal, the steel doesn't mean as much as the heat treat, right? So, you guys got to, you got to be careful. Like when Scab, you sent me that Lilith, I knew I could throw that. I know their manufacturing process. I know their heat treat. My friend Jason Johnson, that he was there. He's seen everything go down, and he also is a master knife maker himself. So I knew that I could throw that. But man, there's a lot of especially high end stuff that that I just wouldn't. So to the viewers, mostly be careful, man. Not everything is meant to be thrown. You will snap it first try. You'll be disappointed.
And that doesn't mean it's a bad knife. We've got to get away from this. This knife tube has just gone berserk.
Yeah.
And the truth is, not every knife. Now, there are some, I firmly believe this, Danger, that every knife review has merit. I really believe that. You can learn something from all of them, so there's no right or wrong. I do think we have to get away from, because I see it every damn video. Well, I got to have a bomb. Why? Why do you need your cutting instrument to be bomb proof? If the apocalypse happens, which it never will, but if it does, are you then going to lose your mind and try to break brick? I mean, I don't understand that concept.
Right.
So I'm glad you said that. And for some of you guys just getting into knife reviewing, do what you want to do, but understand if a knife breaks, that doesn't mean it's a bad knife. Typically, it means you've done something stupid with it. That's typically what it means. Typically, not always. But this thing is fun to throw. The cold steel Gladius.
Now, I disagree. Now, the main reason is the pommel. I can't
stand
I love the pommel.
Throwing. I love throwing. This is one you pick up. I'm not saying it's good to throw. Don't misunderstand what I said. I said it's fun to throw.
Fun to throw.
But I have friends that can throw it fine. So it's just me. I do not like that one because of the pommel. The pommel gets in my way. I can't stand the pommel. But I have a friend that throws it fine.
Let's talk about that then. But because that brings up an interesting point, and you mentioned that with the kunai. Now, I am not a knife thrower. I should be in line right behind Helen Keller as somebody that throws a knife. But if I go to now, are you saying it gets in the way because you're going to throw from the handle and you're going to let it go?
Yes. Or you want it to slide out of your hand. You don't want to have to open your hand, because when you open your hand, it changes things. Knife throwing is all about repeatability. That's why going. Yeah. So the Lilith with this handle shape design, it slides right out of your hand, man. That's nice, especially for no spin. That design right there is excellent for no spin. Look at that. I don't have to do anything. It just comes right out of my hand with inertia.
But then the pommel, and I'm just trying to make sure. So you're wanting to always throw from the handle.
No.
Because of repeatability. Because I've taken it, and I'll just be honest with you, I take it and I throw it from there.
That's the way I would throw it.
But I'm going to spin the shit out of it. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing any better.
Correct.
Okay.
Then it all comes down to your stance, follow through, and distance from target. There's a lot of variables there.
For somebody getting started, for somebody that's just getting started, how often should they throw, and how many throws? Because and here's what I'm asking. And I'll take this knife. It's not a throwing knife, but it might as well be, because it was a screw up by K-Bar. So if I was going to throw this knife, right? If I was going to throw the knife, how many times would I need to throw that knife the exact same motion, exact same way before muscle memory kicks in?
Oh
Do you
man, that's a
think?
good question.
I know you're not going. I know you can't nail it down, but what would you like if you were like, Scab, you're going to start, you need to throw it X amount of times a week?
Well, man, the number of times that's beyond me, and I wish I knew a number, dude. But in the beginning, I was way more obsessed than I am now. Even I was throwing 3-4 hours daily, wasn't I, babe?
Yes.
Almost daily, every single day. I was obsessed.
Summertime is 5 or 6.
Summertime even more, but I mean, it all depends on how good you want to get at it. If you're doing it for leisurely fun and you're sticking your knife, cool. I wanted to see how far I can take this. You know, I looked up to so many knife throwers, man. I just wanted to be at their level or just be recognized or be a part of this history somehow. And man, it's knife throwing is very difficult. Like throwing a knife and sticking it, pretty easy. I can show anybody that. But doing it well and excelling and doing it instinctively from wherever, however, blade, handle, from the sheath, wherever, that takes a very, very long time. And I mean, dude, it's infinite. It never ends. And also, so knife throwing is an accuracy sport. I'm going to go on record here and say knife throwing is the most difficult accuracy sport in the world. There are so many different variables. You take a gun, the bullet's going this way majority of the time. So you just got to figure that out. Knife throwing, there are so many variables, man. And I have so much respect for anybody that puts any amount of time to get good at this sport or lifestyle or hobby or however you want to define it. It's a lifestyle for me just because I'm obsessed and weird. But man, it's infinite. It never ends. And if someone calls themselves a master, I disagree because, you know, I learn every time I throw, every single time.
What's the main reason somebody should not want to learn to throw a knife?
Not to? Man, that's a weird question.
Like, what if somebody says, "Oh, I want to learn how to throw knives for self-defense"?
Oh,
you know.
Well,
that's where I was going with it.
Okay. I good. Okay, thank you, Joe. Man, hypothetically, you know, I like to think that way too. I like to live in a hypothetical world where I'm going to save the day. I've been doing this a very long time, dude, daily. I'll probably throw knives right after this. I like to think that I might be capable of that. I'm not saying I am, but for the general person, it's not viable. Now, you know, whenever anybody talks about knife throwing for combative reasons, never throw your knife away. Never throw your knife away. Dude, I got 6 knives on me, dude. What are you talking about? Actually, I carry 4 every day. So, but anyway, never throw your only weapon, but there are circumstances where you should have to throw it. Now, take the knife out of the equation. If I'm just throwing a piece of steel at you, it's going to cause you to get out of the way or cause a distraction. So, you know, take the whole knife out of the equation. It is a thing. There are circumstances where people have been killed with thrown knives. People always say there's not any combative documentation. There is. Skeeter Vaughn, World War II. He took out a German sentry, 87 foot with a bayonet. Look it up. It's well documented. People saw it. It's wrote down. He's incredible. Skeeter Vaughn is a legend. He's a I can't remember what type of Indian, but he's, you know, he's incredible. So it is and can be a thing. But if you're looking to just do that, sure. Like, you know, there all these comic book character guys nowadays. It's awesome. Like, just do whatever you want in your backyard. Just don't think that you're gonna, like, I don't know. It's not
going to work. That was my point. It's not going to work.
I mean, for the general person,
for the average person,
yeah, it's not.
It's a waste of time to add it for self-defense. Do it because you enjoy it. Do it to get better at it.
It's a waste of time to carry one on you. It's not a waste of time to learn it. It's a waste of time to carry one thinking that I'm just going to throw this and it'll work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not going to happen.
Skip, I wanted to actually go ahead, Skip. I'm sorry, finish up.
No, go ahead.
No, I wanted to talk to him about Daniel because I think he's got he implements a lot of knife throwing on his channel, and he's very knowledgeable. He's a really down to earth dude. I don't know if you ever see. Have you ever seen 411 Outdoors?
100%. And I would love to get into that. Can I use the bathroom for 60 seconds here? I apologize,
Absolutely,
guys.
go ahead.
Please, I'll be right back. And I know Daniel very well, and I did want to address that. Thank you.
Yeah. So while Danger goes to pee, we can talk about what you got coming up, Joe.
What do I got coming up? I'm actually going to start. I'm trying to implement. I have a surprise for you coming up, but I can't talk about that yet. But that's coming up, and I have another Hanwei sword because I'm trying to get more Hanwei swords reviewed before they do like the reproductions with Cat Siberia and stuff. So I have another Hanwei I want to get in there. I just have to kind of sharpen it up. I actually did a short on it. I put it out just to test it out a little bit. But other than that, just kind of just revisiting a lot of stuff.
Now, when will the transition take place? Because I know it takes time to do that.
A lot of questions are coming up as I'm putting these videos out. People say, "Oh, like, is this going to be reproduced?" And he doesn't really have a lot of answers. And you know what? The whole big thing right now is the tariff situation that everybody's really panicking right now. So what's going on is, and a lot of these, he's telling me also, a lot of the blade companies have to decide: are they going to basically invest in their R&D department to take care of new designs, or are they going to invest that money into keeping it afloat? And obviously, they have to just keep the money into just keeping the company going. So now that's going to push back a lot of the R&D and all the implementing of new designs because they're just trying to keep the companies going because they're going to basically be hit with a lot of these tariffs coming in. So it's up in the air. It's like it's really an unsure thing right now as far as how a lot of these companies are going to keep on going. But that's neither here nor there. We'll see how if it pans out within the next couple of weeks or months. You know. That's it.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that, guys.
Dude, don't be.
No worries,
man. We've gone over an hour. It doesn't seem like we have, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And sorry, I've been talking so much, man. I'm just super passionate about this, and I'm just beyond grateful for you guys to have me on here. This is awesome.
Dude, never. This is your show. That's why we have guests on. Talk all you want. Jump into the 411 thing. I'm going to take a pee break, and I'll be back.
I'm actually going to bring him up because I have one of his videos here. He has a specific way of throwing, which I want you to tell me how he's
come up with his own. He's the only thrower that I've ever seen throw like him, and he's come up.
Let me
awesome.
show that to you. Let me show that to you because I have him here. Let me see. Share.
Oh, I've seen them all. Believe me, I've seen them all. I watch his stuff all the time.
Do you see his screen?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Let me show you how the freak he throws. It's just, I mean, you've seen it to me how he throws. It comes out of his hand. What do you got lag for? Why is there lag? Oh, there it goes. Oh, you see that? It's just kind of. Can you? I can't even explain like how it's coming out of his hand.
He has a very unique way of throwing. He has his own grip. And that's because he hasn't been exposed to anybody else. He's learned this on his own. I love that, man. He's unadulterated. He reminds me of Ralph Thorne. And Ralph Thorne was the first person to write a book called Combat Knife Throwing.
Right.
And he's the one that is largely responsible for all of modern instinctive throwing. Ralph Thorne is. But Daniel, him and I, he blocked me, and it was just a misunderstanding. I have nothing wrong with the guy. I think he's great. It's just that he's come up with his own way of doing things, and his channel's gotten very big. And people ask him about knife throwing questions and stuff all the time, and I have a different perspective on the way he's throwing. Right. In my mind, his no spin is half spin, and his half spin is one spin, and that's just because I'm just being technical about it. And in his mind, he's still throwing no spin, and I understand that. I just disagree with the way that he explains things sometimes, and it's unfortunate, man. Him and I were supposed to exchange blades at one time, and I think that I listened to the podcast that he was on with you guys, and he had a negative experience in one of the knife throwing groups, and that group has 10,000 plus people in it, and that was unfortunate. Results may vary, you know. Unfortunately, I was an admin at the time, and he got a bad experience and decided not to come back, and I understand that, and that's unfortunate. He's one of those guys that I would love to see come to DangerFest sometime and experience the community.
Yeah, but he's actually a really good dude. Like, I've had some. Really
I know he is. He's pastor.
With him. Yeah, he's a really good guy. Like, he's just. I know. I really dig him. So I wish you guys could hook up, because I think it would be a great thing for him to get to DangerFest, because he does internet, have a man. Way. Yeah.
Yeah, the internet, sometimes things just don't go the way that, you know, talking through text, humans were never supposed to do that, dude. Social media, we were never supposed to converse this way. And a lot of things can be misconstrued and taken the wrong way.
Completely.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, hopefully he sees this and we can, you know, I don't know.
I've had people mad at me for 6 months, and I would talk to them. I said 6 months later, it's like, I haven't heard from you. Oh, don't you remember what you texted me? I said, what the hell did I text you? I said, and then we went back to the text. I said, and I'm like, I didn't mean it that way. I said, you had a problem. I just pick up the damn phone and fucking call me. I know.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Text is just so weird, man. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Anyway, Scab, you didn't hear, but I got nothing but love for Daniel Irving, and he's a great knife thrower. It was just a little bit of miscommunication there, is all that was.
Yeah, it happened. I mean, listen, this world's difficult enough as it is, and misunderstandings happen, and then, you know, you try to fix, you do what you can, and you move forward. The biggest thing with things like that is coming back around, you know, and making it happen. And I'll tell you the truth. It happens in our world. It happens in your world. It happens in the sword world. There are folks who get into this shit to do nothing but cause problems.
Yeah, dude.
That's why they start their channel. That's why, and people can, and here's what happens, and you've probably seen it. The larger your channel gets, the more bullshit you see that goes on, the more whining, the more nitpicking. And I'm not going to do it, but I can sit here, you know, when a channel comes online, you know what they're there for. They're not there to help anybody in the community. They're there to be an issue and a problem. And those are the people who can really do some damage that you may never see. That you may never see. And that's where a lot of times, that's why I think Blade Talk is good and DangerFest is good, for people to get together and communicate. That's the key. Yeah. Communication is the key.
So
100%.
Speaking of communicating, let me try to get to some of the questions after you finish.
Please.
Yeah. No, you want to show that knife, or you want to talk about that knife?
Who?
You.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me just get to these real quick, because I promise and figure I'll do it. Garrett had said and just, it could be quick answers. Does throwing knives, how do they compare to throwing spikes? Throwing knives and throwing spikes?
It's basically the same thing. It depends on your grip. But some throwing spikes, bow shuriken, you know, spikes are basically Japanese bow shuriken. And that's where all this came from, by the way. You know, the Chinese did it way back then too, but we kind of know this from Japanese stuff. But it's very similar. It's just a slightly different grip, depending. Like, I can still throw I don't have any spikes here in front of me, but let's pretend that's a spike. You can't see the side of it. So I'm just going to throw like this. The side of it doesn't matter. I'm still going to throw it like that. I'm still going to use my finger to cancel rotation. Now there's bow shuriken throwing, where, you know, the Japanese traditional style stuff is like this, which, you know, throwing is throwing to me. It's all knife throwing.
Somebody has a question about that later on, but this one, WC Review said, Danger, do you find that Hibbin makes good throwers, and what is a good brand of throwing knife? It could be quick.
Man, good question.
Yeah.
Good question. Gil Hibbin made his own throwing knives. He was a very good knife thrower.
Yeah.
he sold his name to United Cutlery. You can get those at Bud K and online now. Now, some of those designs are very good. I competed with the 11-inch Gil Hibben Tontos. In my first competition, I scored expert. I still, swear by those knives. They're excellent. Any knife that you buy that gets you into the sport is good, in my opinion, if it doesn't break or bend. I call those gateway knives. And then what is a good design, good throwing knives? I mean, there's so many. There's so many custom throwing knives makers. Delta to Alpha, Bullseye Blades, Lewis Prince steel knives. There's
I think we're giving you ideas for some shows you got to do on your channel.
You are. Yeah, I know. This is
I
great,
think
man.
these are all episodes, man.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We'll definitely get into that. I'm going to push everybody to your channel, and I think you should make up these shows so
of course,
you can answer everybody's question. Coolest Weatherman said, "What is your personal favorite way to throw?"
So I like throwing many different ways, but the easiest and probably my best throw is underhand half spin, underhand one spin.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Underhand's more difficult for most people.
No. I can show you a 20-foot throw, easy underhand, easy. It's like bowling. You just let it slide. You let the knife slide out, real easy. It's super easy.
I got it. Let me see if there's anybody else. Somebody else asked a question. Guys, if you have any other questions, here's another one.
How many viewers we got?
I don't know. It comes and goes. I don't know how much the numbers are. Right now it's about 35. What's the best intro set of decent throwing? No, I think you kind of answered that, or you could make up a show on that. Yeah.
Sets of knives. Just go to Amazon. There's plenty of good sets of
knives. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How is it like shopping on Amazon? You think that because some people, it's you either could score or you could basically get ripped off.
I've made videos just on this. There's a lot of stuff. If you don't know what you're looking for, it can be difficult. But if you do, it's easy.
Right. That's pretty much it there. I don't think anybody else has it. If anybody else had any question, just put them in. So, DangerFest. When is the next DangerFest coming up?
DangerFest is September 19th through the 21st at the #1 Stop Bait Shop in Pearson, Indiana.
Okay.
All of the information that you need, if you're on Facebook, and I know a lot of younger people aren't anymore, but if you're old like us, I'm 45, by the way. Search DangerFest 2025 on Facebook. All the information you need is there. If you can't find it there, you don't want to go on Facebook, email me at fulltangclan@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send you all the information. It's gonna be a big one, man. It's gonna be one for the record books. Highly recommend it.
Now, when can people start buying tickets?
Right now, we actually just put the pre-registration up a couple days ago. It's only $70 pre-registration, $80 day of. It's the cheapest one you're going to find.
Let me jump in real quick. Clarify this. Are they camping at DangerFest?
Good question.
Hotels nearby? Let's discuss
Good question. So the property is located right across from a lake that is connected to the Tippy Lake chain. So there are so many Airbnbs. The hotels are actually further than the Airbnbs, but we have 13 acres and we do not charge for camping. Free camping. You can drive an RV, camper, you can parachute in. I don't care.
However you get there.
Is that what they did last time? I think was it called? Did they all set up camping? They all set up camping.
Yeah. They camped. They camped on the far side, far away from the rest of the crazy knife throwers. They had their own little spot. It was cool. It was cool. But one year, this guy said he was going to fly his helicopter in, and I was like, dude, that would be so cool. And I was like, I'll mark a spot off for you to land and everything. It didn't end up happening, but I was like, I kept asking him, I was like, are you flying your helicopter in, dude? That'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, and there's plenty of camping, but there's plenty of Airbnb because, and that's big for people to know too. I mean, if we went, I'd camp because
some of the Airbnbs are walkable. You could literally walk across the road to them. There's a pond right across the road that one of my dad's good friends lets us go over there and use his pond. We have, more than enough porta potties. I think Arthro's got the most porta potties. What else we got there? We have a food truck there that's there dedicated for everybody. Thursday through Sunday. Saturday night we have karaoke and fireworks, and after the award ceremony.
Fast Draws Friday night.
Oh, Fast Draw Friday. Yeah, that's the main attraction in my opinion. Yeah. Fast Draw is my favorite thing.
Don't forget about the bonfire katana cutting.
The bonfire's sick. But actually, man, was it last year? Last year, my dad stacks up so much wood. It was too big. The year before, we were melting tents with my dad's bonfire. Well, this last year, my brother bought $1,000 worth of fireworks. And we had a burn ban, so we didn't have any bonfire and no fireworks. So we got all those fireworks from last year that we were so ready to set off this year.
I gotta tell you, it sounds like a lot of fun, man. It really does. I really would
great,
love
man.
to make it.
I have a lot of friends that don't even. I have a lot of friends from around here that don't even throw. That like friends from high school or whatever. They just come and camp. They have a good time. It's a good time, dude.
Everybody says they just want to come hang out and just throw.
Yeah, just hang out.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we probably should do. If you have time sometime in late June or July, come back on with us.
Oh, man, that'd be great.
Let's do a DangerFest show where we focus
actually
on that.
August would be great.
Well, you guys set that up, and you're welcome to come back, and that's what we'll do. We'll do a push into DangerFest. I think that'd be good.
That'd be great, man. And I can't thank you guys enough, man. You guys have really been super cool to me. I know we don't know each other that well, but through the community, we know mutual people. And I apologize for not engaging in your YouTube channels as much as I should. But I subscribe to so many people, and YouTube's weird about what I see and whatnot. And in Scab, I looked at your channel the other day and it said I wasn't subscribed. And I know I was. I know
they do that a lot, man. They do that.
Why do they do that?
I think what they do, I don't know. I think that's another show. But I will tell you, just like I tell anybody watching, when you have a channel, invest in your channel. I don't ever feel bad about not watching. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you what I do. I catch most stuff on either Instagram or Facebook.
Same.
Because when I'm on YouTube, it's
Yeah, same Scab. And I feel bad, man, because a lot of my knife throwing friends, I miss their, if they're only on YouTube and I can't see them elsewhere. So I'm like, dude, I'm sorry I didn't see this. I just want to uplift everybody. And, I don't know. I'm just trying to be the guy that I used to look up to. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to encourage people and keep them interested. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well, brother, you do that through your live throws on Thursday. You do that through your videos, and I mean that's what people have to understand.
That's a big part of it.
Matter. It's hard. I'm seeing a lot now. Like when I came in, and you comment or you expect somebody, and you're like, man, that guy's a dick. I didn't. But then as you go and as you grow, you go, no, he really wasn't. You can't keep up with everybody. You can't talk to everybody. Yeah. You have people that message you all day long out of the blue that you don't know that get mad at you when you don't respond. Yeah. You're like, what the hell are they? So I get it.
And it gets harder and harder. The more years that you're on YouTube, it gets
really
harder and harder because you get more and more involved and your channel is growing and everything just gets more difficult to keep up with other channels. It's just the nature of the beast. That's just how it is. It's hard to be a full-time creator or even a part-time creator and also be a YouTube, to keep up with YouTube at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing to do.
YouTube's huge. And by the way, I just saw those couple comments Marcus Method just commented we have a new
Yes,
food truck
you
this
know
year.
him? Is he a dude? He knows.
Well, he's the guy that designs all of our stuff. He's the
Okay.
mastermind behind all of our art stuff. And then the coolest weatherman that just commented, he's an amazing knife thrower. I love that guy, and hopefully he can come to DangerFest this year. And it's just cool to see a couple of my friends jump in here and comment stuff. You know,
Donnie would have a good time at DangerFest.
Donnie B.
Yeah,
Donnie B. Donnie, because
he was pretty cool to me too. Yeah.
He
we
does
need to do another Three Amigos trip, and we'll put DangerFest on the list.
Man, I would love to have you guys, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
How many hours of a drive is it for me? About 13 hours?
It's 11 hours from me to Philadelphia.
To Philadelphia. So probably somewhere around 13 hours. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I think it's about 13 hours, which is really not that bad because how long? Florida? Yeah, it's not that bad.
Driving to Florida sucks.
Yeah, driving to Florida's tough.
It's so far.
If I come there, I got to drive.
Oh,
because I got to take my swords with me.
Yeah,
Unless I could do like freaking Kill Bill and keep the sword by my seat.
Well, I've traveled many times to compete. You can check that stuff.
The katana though, I don't know.
Yeah, you can check a rifle.
A full length luggage, I guess it'll fit. It'll fit.
You just gotta be, gotta have the right case. They're gonna look through it. Keep that in mind. You know what I mean? So it's iffy for sure.
Yeah, it really. Yeah. Well, listen, brother, thank you for coming on, man. We've done an hour and a half. We're going to do another show.
Oh my gosh.
Joseph, let me throw it to you to wrap this thing up.
Guys, if you're as interested as I as far as learning how to knife throw, you have to just go to Full Tang Clan, find his channel. If after the show, I'm probably going to go in and try to put a couple of links in the description of this live.
Thank you.
And so you can find his link and go into him, but it's very easy to find. And take a look at him. Take a look at his lives. He puts a lot of information out there, especially on his lives, as far as step by step how he's throwing. And you'll definitely get a lot out of his videos and everything. And for my sword people, he does some sword stuff. So he loves his swords. So he does some sword swinging.
It's the season now, so you'll see a lot more sword
season
stuff.
Coming in, exactly. So definitely check out his channel. You're going to get a lot out of it, and I'm hoping it was a good introduction to kind of get over to him and maybe learn some knife throwing. I know I definitely want to. I think I'm gearing towards it now. So you definitely got to.
I'm happy to teach anything I know.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And Knife Fest, guys. DangerFest, rather. We'll talk about it again, but it is coming up in September. We'll probably come in on August to try to do another push for it, but tickets are available now. And let's take a look at all of it.
Awesome.
Danger, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Dan, thank you guys so much, dude. I'm honored. Thank you.
Hang out.
Damn it. Thank you, man.
Make sure you hang out when we do the awkward pause. Don't log off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, everybody that was in the room, if we didn't get to your question, you have another question, you could either put it in the comments section here. I'm sure Danger will be able to see it. If not, just go to his channel and just, and maybe sub and ask him there. And I think it'll be easier to kind of ask him any questions you have right from his channel. And we'll follow up from there. So thank you for joining us from Blade Talk. We'll see you on the next show. Have a good evening, guys. And thanks for spending a couple hours with us as well. Have a good night, guys. Ciao.
Awkward pause.